This podcast was recorded on the land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation.
Guys, we're back.
Hello.
Welcome back to another episode.
That reminds me of Mary Poppins.
Holy moly. Can we decide beforehand who talks first? Because I just start and then you instantly go over me.
Just want to make it a bit more entertaining.
If I did that at home,
as soon
I'd
as
get in
people hear your
so much
voice,
trouble.
they need to leave. They get bored.
Guys, another week of Loch and Jad talking rubbish. Wherever you are in the world, we appreciate having you, and whatever you're choosing to do, hope you enjoy this episode.
Locke listens to our episodes on the toilet.
Sometimes. So it's a nice 30 minutes away from Jad. Guys, this week on Mad About You, we are traveling with you guys and sharing some of your travel horror stories. Because the other week, Jad and I, we shared one of our own on the pod about something that happened to us many, many moons ago, which was a little bit embarrassing, a little bit scary, and a combination of a few not nice things. And we thought to ourselves that if it's happened, something like that happened to us, then I'm sure that you guys have plenty of horror stories for us. So we will be getting stuck in to some of those a little bit later.
Absolutely.
And our Ask Mum and Dad this week comes from a guy who's wanting a little bit of help navigating a overprotective sibling, which would absolutely suck if I'm being honest.
Were there any of yours overprotective?
No, not at all. Mine are all
like at all?
fun and
0%?
silly. No, they would normally just tease me or troll me in front of partners.
So
Never
real.
be overprotective.
That's nice.
Also, I think it's a bit different being overprotective for a guy. You know, like how does that work?
I feel like it's an age thing as well.
Like, what are they going to tell some 16-year-old girl, like, don't hold his hand? You know, it doesn't really make sense in reverse,
really
if I'm
funny.
being honest. But, guys, before we do get, stuck into the stories this week, I wanted to have a little chat about something that I've been thinking about. So now that Jad and I, we're parents and we have one kid, Fletch, and he's amazing. He's the best thing that's ever happened to us, but he's hard work, you know, and it's tough to manage him sometimes, as well as, you know, we work for ourselves, have our own businesses. So it's a lot of cogs turning in our life, which, sometimes becomes quite difficult. And you do get caught up in your own life. And, that being said, recently something happened and it pulled me way out of my own head and my own life. And it kind of gave me a bit of a reality check because, you know, we have one, but we're wanting more kids. So eventually we're going to want to have, you know, another and maybe another couple. And, you know, life's going to look different as that happens. And also, I don't know, I think probably get even more difficult and, you know, and tougher. If one is tough, then I can only imagine when you multiply that, it multiplies the difficulty. But recently we went to the beach for Jad's birthday, which was, you know, a couple of weeks back now. And in the morning, you know, you're at home and you're going to the beach for a couple of hours, but it's not just, you know, you grab a towel now and you grab a soft drink and you walk out. It's, you know, you're packing breakfast for the little man, you're packing lunch, you're packing bottles, you're packing formula, you're packing swimsuits, nappies, wipes, you know, everything, as well as yourself and trying to organize. And so by the time you get in the car to go to the beach to relax for, you know, Jad's birthday, you're already spent, you know, like as in it's already, you're drained and the day hasn't even started. So we got to the beach and we were meeting some other people that were joining us to, you know, celebrate Jad's birthday. And two families rocked up in the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes. One family had 3 kids and one family had 5 kids. And instantly, you know, I looked down at
still
Fletcher.
5 under 5 or is it 5?
Yeah, this family has 5 kids under 5.
Just
which
imagine
is,
that.
Yeah. For parents out
They're
there,
killing it.
imagine that. It's crazy. And they're doing a phenomenal job. But when you think about your own life, and, you know, I think like, you know, everything's difficult with Fletch. You know, feeding can be a bit of a hassle. Like he's not a good sleeper. He needs constant stimulation. And then you look outwards and you see these other families that are doing it with 3 kids, 4 kids, 5 kids. And you just think to yourself like, holy moly. Like think about their nap time, like their food time, their bath time, their bedtime. And it got me thinking, like, actually, I don't know how we're going to factor in another kid.
How do people do it? What I hear is that once you have one, the shift from, I think, it's weird. I'm hearing different narratives. Some people say the shift from 0 to 1 is harder, and some people say the shift from 1 to 2 is harder, but then 2+ is just more of the same. Have you heard that?
I mean, I can understand 0 to 1 because it's such a shock to the system,
Yeah.
you know, and your whole life just gets flipped on its head one day. You go home with a child and that's that. 1 to 2, I can imagine some difficulties being like spreading your time. Like the first one gets all the attention, then
But
you've got to split it.
imagine if Fletch was an easy first one. I think that's the difference. Like some people have a first baby that's really, really easy. Their newborns, and by easy, I mean in terms of how easy having a baby can be. Like Fletcher's a really bad sleeper. We had, he was a chucker-upper, so he'd vomit constantly, like not vomit, but, his little milky spews and stuff.
Yeah,
mainly the sleep thing though, that really drills into you like over time when you're not sleeping at all for months on end. That becomes really exhausting. So if you had a really easy firstborn in terms of they just slept really well, they didn't really have any issues, healthy, happy baby, great. And then you have another one and your second one's really difficult. I can imagine that would be really hard because you have this expectation now of what it's like to be a parent, and then all of a sudden it's actually harder. You don't know what you're doing. And then you have another baby still that you need to manage, or another child.
Yeah.
So I can see how that would be harder for some people.
Yeah. And the reason it got me thinking is because we were doing like little things at the beach, which you always do with your kids. So we put him in his swim nappy, we put him in his swimsuit, we took him for a swim, and Jad and I are like having a cuddle and passing in between us, and he's, flashing, like flopping around, having a great time. And then we looked over at this other family and like both parents are like wrangling the 5 kids, like they're getting their clothes wet and sandy. Some don't have swimmers, some do, and I just think to myself like, we have it so easy, like as in our one kid might be difficult at times, but like other people are dealing with like it to an nth degree, you know what I mean? And so it was like a nice realization of realizing, it's that old saying of like, if you gathered with your friends and family and everyone put their situations or problems in a circle and you got to see everyone's, you'd grab yours back real quick. And it was like, it was a real life moment like that. And it's not saying that their situations are, bad or anything like that. They handle them incredibly and they're doing an amazing job. But it was just like, if you guys can do 3 and you can do 5, then, we got to count our blessings with, 1. And, and it made me think though, like the logistics of having more kids, because right now it's like one of us looks after Fletch sometimes and gives the other one a break or time to do work or go and do something. And it's like, well, when you have 2, it's like, do you split them, or does one take both at all times, or like how does it work? Like if they're both napping and one screams and wakes up, like do they both wake up? Like do you get them on the same schedules? Like how does that work? So it's not really something we've thought about, even though we've wanted more kids. So
honestly, I'm avoiding thinking about it.
That's great.
Because I think the more that I think about it, the less I'll talk myself into it. But I love Fletcher so much. I want more of that love in my life.
Yeah.
So, and you know that it's like, it's obviously worth it because people go and have more kids.
Yeah, for sure.
People aren't running around. Not everyone has one child, and it's for a reason.
And we've said this before as well. It's that no matter what happens, that you'll rise to the occasion and overcome it.
You can't
it's
help.
not
You don't
just
have a choice.
Yeah, you just do. So it's not that
Manage.
I'm fearful that we won't be able to manage it, but obviously it's it's food for thought.
Yeah, it's definitely.
But yeah, Jad's really.
You having second thoughts, mate?
Jad's really been egging me on for a second one, guys, and I'm kind of just like, whoa, just give it a minute. Let's go to the beach a couple more times, just the 3 of us.
I'm ready.
Yeah, all right. We'll see. All right, guys. Now, we do have some horror travel stories from you guys. Some are funny, some are a little bit wild, and some are a little bit unbelievable. But before we get started, Jad has just told me now that she wanted to steal the limelight and tell us one of her own horror
I've got a
travel
little
stories.
one. I've got a small one. So I was in transit going from I don't even know where I was going. I think it was my first ever.
You know what's good about this story already is the details.
It was my first ever like long haul flight, and I think I was alone for whatever reason. I can't look. The
Wasn't
details.
sure where she's
it's
going
not
and
important.
thinks she
It's
was
not
alone.
important, right? Okay, so I'm in transit. It's one of those flights where there's like 4 connecting. It's crazy scenes out there. It's like 40 hours, something stupid. You know that first flight that you buy when you're like really young and you're like, I'm going traveling, woo! And then you go, why did I do that? Anyway, it was one of those, and I think I was in transit at Mumbai, maybe airport, and it was one of those airports where they have those toilets where you squat basically, and I'd never used one before, and I walk in and it's not very clean. It's just people have made a bit of a mess in there. And I'm busting at this point, like for whatever reason, I really need to go to the bathroom. So I run in. And I'm wearing these pants, which I think this was the moment that I realized that I'm never wearing long pants to an airport ever again, just in case this happened. But I had these really long pants on, and they basically dragged through other people's toilet business. That was, all over the situation. Went to the toilet, did my business, managed the squat situation, walked out, and basically had to go and buy new pants because the bottom of my pants were so wet that I couldn't possibly wear them again. So I had to go to a shop and
Did you walk in with your
find
eyes
some new
closed? Why don't you
pants.
just reef them up a little bit?
I did. I tried, but they were so long. They were really long, wide leg pants, and I just couldn't get a handle on them. Basically, I really should have just taken them off.
Wait, they were such
So
heavy
long,
big pants, and
yeah.
you couldn't get a handle on them.
Honey,
Couldn't
can you
lift them up.
imagine this? I'm squatting. I can't squat very well, just for starters. I don't have that balance. You know how people squat and they lean on their heels? I can't do that. How do people do that? Anyway, I'm not a very good squatter to begin with, so I'm trying to balance, not fall over, hold my pants at the same time. It was a hot mess. I was about to fall into the urination.
Wait, was it just...
So my pants were sacrificed instead.
Did it drag through one or two?
Both.
Wait, you had pants with other people's shit on it.
No, it was but
You just said both.
it was the toilet. It was business. It was other people's business. Anyway, look, I walked out.
Why didn't you just chuck them under the dryer?
The worst part is,
hand dryer.
yuck. The worst part is I walked out, looked to my right, there were normal toilets.
Oh.
I stood in the line for the squat toilet.
That's a cultural experience.
I
though.
didn't know. I
That's
didn't
kind of
know.
nice.
There were other toilets, sitting toilets. Anyway, so that was mine. That's my little travel.
I'm actually
had to
really
buy some
glad.
fresh
I'm really
pants.
glad we didn't end with that one and we started with it, because these stories we got from people are much wilder than getting a little bit of wee on their pants.
Well,
Is that even a horror story? That
Cool.
could just happen on the
It
way
was a
home.
horror story for me. I had wee all over my ankles, Lachlan.
Yeah, but it ended with doing something that you love. You got to go shopping. That's kind of nice.
So true. Love that silver lining. Anyway, chuck the other pants out. It was really sad.
That is a crazy story, man.
All right, guys, let's tuck in.
Let's get to another story before that one sends me to sleep. You could have just said once I went traveling and got some wee on my pants. That was like an 8-minute story.
I need context for that. Sounds like I've pissed myself.
That also is possible. All right, guys. First story. It says, my friend and I wanted to do a ski season working overseas. We'd planned it for a year and decided on doing a season in Whistler together after school, where we'd work and then ski/board together on our days off and spare time. We arrived at the mountain, got settled into our accommodation, and had one day between arriving and starting work. We got our gear and went out exploring the mountain together. My friend was a little too keen and overconfident. He went off a jump, landed badly, and broke multiple bones in both arms. Needless to say, he now wasn't going to be able to work or snowboard in the near future. He left to go home a few days later, and I followed because I didn't want to be alone for 3 months in a strange place. Looking back, I wish I had just stayed, but oh well, I was young and not very confident.
Oh, no.
Imagine that.
That's awful.
Poor kids. Imagine you plan a trip for a year, you speak all through high school, you got this thing, you
Yeah.
save up, you don't go to schoolies to do this mad thing together, and then you finally get there, you're probably absolutely buzzing, and then boom, you go home. Your mate just
That's
carts
so
it, you gotta go home.
devastating. And then not staying yourself because you were just scared to stick it out on your own.
Yeah, but imagine you think you got the next 3 months of your life planned out with, partying, meeting people overseas, and then
Yeah.
you're just back in Australia the next week trying to find a job.
That's heartbreaking, truly. And then you can't even work because your body's all crumpled.
Yeah, I mean, that person, they got some recovering to do. But the other friend, as in, they're fine. They're just back in Australia, and now they have to, go and, what is it, 18-year-olds do? They normally go and work at cafes, pubs. It's that would be that's a grim outcome.
devastating.
I hope you still got to do it again with your friend, or at least by yourself at some other point, because a ski season overseas would be absolute heaven on earth. So
It sounded like
Sorry
you
you
guys
missed out.
needed to level each other's confidence out. Your friend was too confident, you needed a bit more. You should have met in the middle, put your confidence in a bowl, and then split it.
they're not. These aren't stories looking for advice, I don't think. They're just telling us about their horrible
Just
time.
saying that would have been good.
Yeah, well, if you're still friends with this person, think about it. That's something you could do if you needed some help from psychologist Jadé over here. Okay, next story.
My friend and I went backpacking to Africa while doing volunteering work. We went to visit Kenya, Mombasa. During one of the days, we got into a taxi and the taxi driver did not take us to our destination. He kept saying he wants us to go meet his mum, sister and family. We told the taxi driver, no, we need to be at our destination ASAP. We will be late for our dinner. Some excuse. He did not care. Kept driving to his family's house. I look at my friend and she looks at me. We counted to 5 and jumped out of his taxi and ran for our lives. That's terrifying. That's so scary.
I think you've definitely done the right thing.
Yeah.
Like, that is wild because you just never know. But then I've also heard from people traveling that is, some cultures are very excited to like share with you their family and their life and their home. Like, I think that's happened to your mum recently when she went traveling in India. Remember, she was up in the mountains and I think someone invited her into their house. It's happened to my parents. It's happened to friends.
Yeah.
It's even happened to us in Bali. I think we were traveling, remember? And he bought us like food that his wife had made and remember that
was
we
a
ate in the
tool.
car? No, it was a driver that we'd rented for the day.
Yeah.
Remember? And he bought us like food from his wife had made. Some
literally
cultures
don't
are just
remember
very,
that, but I believe you. My memory's
very giving and wanting of that. But I dare say you did the right thing getting out of the car there because you just never know.
I need to know more. Like, where did you run to?
Just so the car was going one way, they got out and ran the opposite way.
And then what? Got in another taxi, went to someone else's aunt's house.
No, they would have. Yeah, that's what they did. They were just looking for a better.
But that's what I mean.
relative's
Like,
house.
what if you're not around anything?
Not all taxi drivers would have wanted to take you to their family house. So
True.
they might have gotten the next one and they were just heading
That's really
to their
scary.
destination.
Yeah.
It is terrifying because you don't know. But at the same time, you have to, it's better to be safe than sorry whilst you're traveling. But yeah, that would be scary. Good on you girls, but hopefully never again. All right, this is a nice quick one, but probably one of the most frustrating. Girls' trip to Bali. One of the girls got to the airport and couldn't board the plane as her passport only had 5 months validity. You need 6 for Bali.
I know so many people who have this situation, or like I know someone who went to the airport and their passport had water damage. Like if your passport has any water damage whatsoever, they will not let you fly.
Oh, weird. I didn't know that.
Yeah, like it's they're really hectic about it now. But that's so. Oh my God! Did you ask for like more? What happened? Did she just not go?
What do you think would happen? Imagine you have a trip planned with like 10
Yeah,
people.
no, I know.
Like 9 are still going to go and have a good time. You're not all going to stay home because Stacey didn't
No,
renew her
you'd
passport.
go. You'd go.
Yeah, so it just would have been...
Also, if I was the friend, I wouldn't want my friend staying home. For me, that's crazy.
Yeah, you would. You sicko.
No, I wouldn't. That's
joking.
messed up.
Yeah, but I don't disagree. You go on the trip.
You would?
But-
Would you try to get an express? Like, what do you do?
No, you just leave it.
You're not going on the trip.
Yeah, what do you mean? It's just you live and you learn. That's annoying, but it's just shit happens.
I'd try to go.
It would be frustrating seeing all your girls have a great time and put up photos and stories
That's
of their adventure,
awful.
and you're sitting at home. Yeah.
Guys, check your passports if you're going to Bali in the next whatever.
Oh, if you're going anywhere, check your passports. But they actually,
you need validity.
yeah, you need validation. But Jad actually wants to go on a trip, and I think she forgot that Fletcher needs a passport if it's overseas. So
Wow.
I actually went to do his passport photos the other day because Jad said we need to do his passport photos. So I went to do it, and I actually got in
Jail.
trouble for
Yeah.
doing it
You
because I did it by
he
myself.
did Fletcher's first passport photos by himself, and Locke said it was so cute. He was smiling the whole time. It was really hard to stop him smiling, and I was like, and I missed this. Because you didn't think to take me to go do his cute little first passport photos. His first official portrait.
Yeah, it was a chore. It
That's
wasn't
his
like an
first
activity.
portrait. Anyway, we need to get his passport done.
Yeah, you Jad only registered him as like a human after like 7 months.
Guys, did you know they don't give you birth certificates at the hospital? Yeah. You have to buy them on the line when you have a baby. Did you know that? It's crazy. You have to pay money to get a birth certificate to go, your child was born. I've got proof, actually, came out of the clacker. So that's proof enough, I reckon. Let me sign a document, say that I gave birth. Instead of paying $65 to get, plus postage, to get a bloody certificate say Fletcher was born.
Do you know what's so funny? That sentence went on for so long. You started to build saliva in your mouth and you didn't swallow because you were so ingrained in that bit that we just had to listen to it through your spit. That's never happened before on the pod, guys. That's the first.
Next story. Back in the day, I won a radio competition for an all-expenses paid trip overseas with 4 friends. That's a dream. Thing is, I was technically 17 and underage and unable to enter or participate at the time. Oh, okay, well. So when I won, I had to get my mum to claim the prize, and she then had to be one of those names on the plane tickets. So pretty much I won this dream trip for me and my friends and had to take one less friend and take my mum instead. In hindsight, I should have just gotten a friend over 18 to accept it, but we still all had fun.
That's so good.
That's hilarious. But also, would you let your 17-year-old kid go overseas with their friends without any chaperone?
Well, as in
17's young.
17 is young, but some people have finished school at 17.
Yeah.
As in, it says that they had friends in the group that were 18.
Yeah,
so
true.
They're saying in hindsight they could have done it a smarter way, but they probably just weren't thinking at the time. And you probably get like an email or a call from these people saying you won, and like, here, we need all these details from you to collect your prize. And you're like, oh shit. So she probably just said, hey, mum, can you help me? And then,
yeah, but I'm saying, would you let your 17-year-old kid go overseas? Like, it sounds young.
I think it depends on sort of how mature and responsible they are, and it depends if they won a trip overseas with their friends. I'm not going to say no, you can't go on this.
I'm giving you a situation,
hypothetical
situation.
Great. Would you date me if I was a foot? Yeah. All right. What's next?
Would you?
Come on.
Hang on. No, your foot. That's what you were going to say.
Yeah, not your fungus toes.
Yeah. You're really laying into me today. If it's saliva mouth, fungus toes, what's next? You sitting there with your hat backwards.
Yeah, because you
like Avril Lavigne, 2005.
So my hair's wet. Okay. Yeah, keep going. I'd love to hear this hypothetical.
Okay, because you said depends on their maturity, etc. You've got 2 17-year-olds. One's really mature. One's a bit of a pain in the ass. You don't trust the other one. They both want to go away with the same group of friends on a trip. What do you do?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I know it's a good question. I knew it would stump you.
Well, you don't have to toot your own horn.
Yeah,
just relax,
go.
let me answer it.
Answer it.
Well, I think it would also depend on the not mature 17-year-olds' behavior on the lead up to the trip. If they weren't being good around the time of the trip, maybe I wouldn't let them go. Like, it would be sort of like
a naughty. You'd have like a naughty list on the wall.
I'd say like you can go if your behavior sort of improves, but not if you're a little rat. Especially if they're paying for it, you have less of a say. But I think if they're using your funds to go on a trip, you have way more of a say. But that being said, I don't think many 17-year-olds have enough cashola to go
all right, mate. Right? Who cares about the funds? Come back to the question. One of the twins good, one of the twins bad. Are you letting them both go?
If you can pay for yourself,
like,
you can go.
Actually, if you pay them funds and you're working a hard-earned job.
They heard what I said. We don't need you to mock me. I think if they're paying for themselves, go nuts. But if I'm paying for you, no. The mature one can go, and then the non-mature one can learn a lesson.
That's crazy.
What?
That's really hard. I don't know.
This is why you'll be rubbish at discipline, and I won't be, because you'll go. I don't know if really I'd do the same thing. We need to let them both go on the trip.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see how we go.
Awesome! Can't wait for these.
Maybe we just won't have twins.
Kids we're gonna have. All right, next story.
Not really a travel horror story, but a horror story just after we travelled. My partner and I went overseas for a month for our honeymoon straight after our wedding. We came home to our house having been broken into and ransacked for everything of value we owned. We didn't have home and contents insurance and were simply devastated. Not a nice way to start as newlyweds. That's the worst way to start as newlyweds.
That's so rubbish.
Awful. How many people have home and contents insurance, like actually, if you don't live in like a disaster zone? Like, do you think many people actually have that? Probably.
I think if you have a lot of things in your house of value and you have obviously the disposable income to pay for, an added insurance, like apart from if you have health insurance, car insurance, because insurance is hefty. But yeah, we have home and contents insurance.
Great. Good to know. This is something I'm involved in.
Yep.
Clearly.
Yep.
Cool.
Holy
We're
moly.
covered, guys. But don't steal from us.
Yeah, I dare say that, the time around your wedding is already, like, I'll be honest, it's quite a stressful time. Like, Jad was definitely not just, like, relaxed into the wedding. Like, she was
you stressed?
doing a lot of, I had some organising to do, mate. Don't worry about me.
What were you stressed about? Getting the bacon and eggs for the recovery? Was that stressful?
Oh my
what was
God,
I stressed about? Oh, the marquee not fitting in the spot last minute, getting a backup generator that costs bloody thousands of dollars that no one told me how to get. Oh, you guys are going to need a backup generator. For what? Don't know, just backup. What do you mean? Tack that onto the bill last minute.
Yeah, I'm saying that was super annoying.
No
but I'm
one
saying
lit
the
our
lead up-
candles.
the
I'm
lead
still
up to
pissed off
wedding-
about that.
Did they not?
Our candles were not lit. There are no lit candles on the night of our
Did
wedding.
you pay for lit or just candles?
I paid for the full experience of the candles. We paid full candle experience.
Did we get to take them home at least? And use them at our own leisure?
Yeah, half of them were broken. You know, things get packed up. Someone's
Oh.
chucking them in a box. We didn't do bump out, so someone else has. Half the candles are missing.
Well, thanks for stuffing up our wedding.
Unbelievable. This guy was really stressed about finding the right amount of bacon for the after party. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Holy moly.
I'm sure it was important.
No, okay. No, I was going to say it's a stressful time leading up to a wedding. You go on your honeymoon, you enjoy it, you're starting your life, and to come home to that would be, I can't even imagine.
It would be horrible. You'd be like picking up the pieces of your whole life all of a sudden. And also, you just spent a lot of money.
Yeah, you might not be
You
in a
just spent a
financial...
lot of money.
You might not be in a financial position to
Yeah.
re-get all the things that have been stolen.
Especially if you don't have home and contents insurance.
Well, you just like saying home and contents insurance.
Says that we don't have home and contents insurance.
Yeah,
so they
I
lost
know- I
everything.
know. But also...
Did you know we have home and contents insurance?
Yeah, I bet you don't know how much for.
No.
I bet you don't know how much it costs, who we're with, anything.
That's okay. You don't know what I spend money on.
Yeah, yeah, what a great argument. Holy moly. Oh, dear.
Let's get into our Ask Mum and Dad. All right, guys, it is time for our Ask Mum and Dad segment where you guys send us questions for your internet parents, who are us, who are also now, newly qualified real parents. So today's question says, how do I deal with my girlfriend's brother being too protective? We've been together for 5 years, but every time I go over, he gets angry when I get close to her and finds little reasons to blow up at me. He even made a list of things I'm allowed or not allowed to do with her, which I thought was a joke, but he was dead serious. I've told her I feel uncomfortable when he gets angry at me for those things, like simply hugging her, but she takes it as a joke and doesn't mention it to him. What would you guys do? Oof, that's awful. What would you do?
I mean, if it was really that big of an issue, I'd say I'm not, unless you talk to your brother about it, I'm not hanging out with you around your brother. I'm not coming to your house. I'm not, spending time around your family if he's going to try and be my dad, pretty much. Like 5 years is a long time to be with someone as well. It's not like it's the first 6 weeks and they're, 16, 17 years old and it's a warranted overprotective brother. Like 5 years is like, could be looking at, engagement, marriage.
Yeah.
Imagine you having someone tell you can't hug your missus.
Making a list of things you can or can't do is crazy.
Yeah. Jad, why didn't you ask him for the list? Oh, sorry, mate. I'm not a very good journalist.
I was just thinking that.
Of course you were. I mean, I would sort of hone it in with your missus as well. Like,
Well, he did. He said, I've told her I feel uncomfortable. She thinks it's a joke.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess if you've done it once and then she thinks that it's a joke or you're not being serious, you have to say, sort of like sit her down and go, look, this sort of means a little bit more to me than maybe you think, and it's starting to get to me. And these little things can ruin a relationship as well. Like,
100%.
imagine you don't want to spend time around your partner's family. Like, that would be... Like, think about that with you. Like, if I didn't want to spend time around your family, like, that would be rubbish because most of our free time we spend with our families, So, yeah, that's not a nice one, man. But also, I mean, if you had the kahunas, you could, have a chat with the brother, but it is a bit of a weird one, especially if he's older and there's a bit of a, perhaps a power dynamic there. But
I think maybe bring it up again with your missus. I don't know, maybe find the right time and place. If she didn't take you seriously last time, maybe it was said in a way that was a bit too casual. I don't know. Maybe you need to like write her a message about it and get out how you feel properly, or I don't know. And then, I think what Locke said in the beginning, like just maybe try to avoid spending time with her around her brother or around her family if that's what it comes to, unfortunately. If you care a lot about this person and you want her in your life, enough to, obviously it's been 5 years, to continue seeing her and spend time with her regularly, I think you just have to move away from spending time with her family, which is upsetting because you'd really, you'd hope that you would get along with your partner's siblings, right?
Yeah, it's a...
If you see a future with them.
It's a sucky one for you, but I think you have the chat with your partner and then when she goes, oh, come over for dinner tonight, you go like, oh, we'll Josh be there? And if she goes, yeah, you go, look, I don't really want to be there because he makes me feel uncomfortable.
Exactly.
And then maybe if that happens a few times, she might start to take you a little bit more seriously. And as in you're a dude, and if you're feeling a certain way about something, don't be shy telling your missus until she sort of gets it, because that would be not a nice feeling, and I don't think it's going to bode well for you guys and be conducive for your relationship. So have a chat, my man, and then stop going over.
And good luck.
Yeah, all the best, my man.
That's a bit sucky.
And thanks for writing in. We don't often get blokes writing in, so it means a lot. Guys, that's all we have for you this week. And if you had a question for us, you can feel free to email us at madaboutyou@novapodcast.com.au, or feel free to DM me. I go through them as best I can. So if you had any things that are going on in your life you wanted us to chat about, discuss, or you needed help with, feel free to write in and we will pretend to act as your parents. We appreciate having you with us. Means a lot every single week. If you did want to leave a review or leave a comment on Spotify, that would mean the world to us.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.